Well, there it is. I officially pre-ordered the Xbox One X Scorpio Edition. Woohoo! 500 bucks. 531 with tax. Yeah, so this is easily the most difficult gaming purchase I've ever made. If you followed me leading up to this, you know I've been less than hyped for Microsoft's latest console and was hoping that maybe we'd get a surprise or two at Gamescom to give us, something to be excited for. But if you watched it, you know it was basically a repeat of their E3 presentation, like even more of a repeat than Sony's past E3 presentation was. I will say, I'll admit that I am interested in the Jurassic Park roller coaster tycoon type game. The best part of these kinds of games is screwing with the people, so I think getting a huge crowd of them and filling the park with a bunch of dinosaurs, then like deleting the fences or something like that would actually be pretty fun. But overall, nothing really new, and the presentation ended with, of course, pre-orders opening up for the Xbox One X, specifically this limited Scorpio Edition, which I do want to note, it looks like it's starting to sell out. I'm looking at it the next day right now, and it looks like Best Buy is sold out as well as Amazon, but I also checked Walmart and Target, they still have them. So, not flying off the shelves, but they're definitely moving some. Granted, the first wave is usually the easiest, as you're going to get all the diehards coming in at the beginning. And on top of that, this is a limited edition. I mean, I don't think they said how limited of an edition this is, but certainly this is kind of like at least a day one thing. So I'm sure you've got, some Microsoft fans that are looking to jump on board and make sure they get this version of the console. But still, if we're going to talk about the long run, I don't think it's going to be easy for them to move these systems. I'm not even trying to be dumb. I get the intended audience, people who want a more powerful console but don't want to get a PC. And I do think there is a market there. However, with it lacking so hard in the exclusives category and being more expensive than the competitors, I don't think the added power is enough to get people excited. When you can play all these games on other platforms, I don't see a huge draw. I've always said exclusives are the biggest selling point on a gaming console. I don't care what anybody says. The first concern when you're buying one of these systems is what games can I play on it. I'm not saying power and performance don't matter. In fact, I've made many videos on why it does. I've called out the power doesn't matter only gameplay type comments multiple times because it's garbage. Gameplay is more important, but I'm sorry. I don't think people would accept PlayStation 1 graphics today, no matter how good the game is. So saying those things don't matter at all is a crap argument. But I think when we're talking in terms of, say, the difference between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, I don't think you're getting image quality, performance, etc. that are so much better that it's going to make you want to side with the Xbox One X and pass on all the Sony exclusives if you're looking to upgrade to one of these platforms. Now, certainly, other things can play into a factor, things like what do you already own. I mean, it's going to be easier for you to upgrade to Xbox One X if you're already an Xbox owner, all your games are on Xbox One, I get that. But overall, I just don't see it being as attractive as the PS4 Pro on its own. Nintendo with the Switch, I see that as more of an alternative platform. I don't think you're necessarily looking for the PS4 and Xbox One type experiences if you're looking at a Switch. And then the PC is basically going to play all the games. I don't think there's anything on Xbox One that's, at least in the future, that's not going to be on PC, but with more customization options, albeit at a greater cost. It just seems like this is a really small set of people you're marketing to. Like, my justification was mostly to play games with my friends who are still primarily playing on Xbox, but most of them aren't even getting the system. They're fine with their S's, etc. And I believe that that's a result of the exclusives falling short. There doesn't seem to be that killer app for the X, something that makes everyone go, oh my god, I need the Xbox One X to play that game. And a lot of the featured Xbox One games with the most hype around them, things like Cuphead, Sea of Thieves, and so on, most of them aren't really games that are pushing crazy fancy graphics that you would want, or at least I think people would feel like they need a 4K setup to truly experience. Like going back to the PS4, I know a few people, not a ton, a few, that weren't really sold on it, but then they saw Horizon Zero Dawn, and they were like, oh shit, I want to play that game on the highest possible settings, and since it's a PS4 exclusive, there's no way to play it better than on the PS4 Pro. For the Xbox One X, even if there were such a game, it would also be available on PC. But even if we're talking about these people who want more power but aren't looking for a PC, that game still doesn't even exist for the X. And of course with Sony, it's stacked with the games that they have in the pipe. I mean, there's of course The Last of Us 2, which I don't think we've really seen too much on, but you know, God of War, the Spider-Man game, there's a lot of stuff on the way that people are also like, oh man, I want to make sure I have this, you know, the ultimate experience for these games, and there's no other way to play it on. I mean, that's how you build interest in a system, and that stuff just doesn't exist for the X. And again, I'm listing these games that are on the way, but there's still something to be excited about. They don't have to be there day one when the console launches. But even when we look to the horizon, I don't see much coming for the Xbox One X. Even the delayed Crackdown 3 wasn't really moving the needle when it was set to launch with the X. Sure, it doesn't help that the game was delayed, but the majority of players didn't seem crazy about it either. I've mentioned in past videos, Microsoft needed something to really sell people on this thing, and it's not here yet. And no, I don't think a game like Forza 7, while it may look awesome, is going to move many systems. You need something with a more broad audience appeal than just a racing sim. To use the same example, I think Horizon Zero Dawn was a great title to follow up the release of the PS4 Pro as something to really get people to be like, oh man, that's something I want to enjoy in its full glory. But yeah, essentially I just wanted to talk about how this really was a tough purchase for me. It's not good when someone like me, who buys pretty much every console, really has to convince themselves to pull the trigger on yours. If there wasn't the potential to make videos about the system as well as how games run on it, I probably would have passed on this, and it would have been, you know, the first console I didn't buy on launch, and jeez, I don't even know. The Dreamcast maybe was the last console I didn't buy at launch. So yeah, I'm typically an easy sale when it comes to gaming consoles, and this one, it was tough. It was tough to buy it. And I'll wrap here, no sense in blabbering on anymore. Let me know your thoughts on the Xbox One X in the comments. Specifically, how do you think it's going to fare when it launches this holiday? As always, I'm John Zakari, and thanks for watching.